What's up, guys and gals? Mirrormask here, playing a little Wildstar. This video is going to be about just some kind of tips and stuff for beginners coming to Wildstar. I know there's still a large group of people out there who are not playing Wildstar yet, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I used to do that too. You know, a game would come out, I'd give it a month or so and let it kind of level out and release and stuff, and kind of balance itself out before I would go to it. But I was waiting on Wildstar for a long time, so I went ahead and just got in on early access and everything like that. Now, during the betas, I wasn't able to play it so much, so I wasn't able to make a ton of videos on Wildstar because they had some kind of weird aspect ratio bug to where if you were using dual monitors, or at least in my case, if I was using dual monitors, it gave this really bad fisheye view or something, so it was just absolutely unplayable. But anyway, that's been fixed and everything, so now I'm able to play it, make videos and all that stuff. So I jumped in on early access and went ahead and got the digital deluxe edition and everything so I could get the hoverboard. But anyway, let's get to the video. As far as classes goes, you know, when I first started playing this, I started off on a medic, and because I was like, you know, the idea of healing, I like the way the medic plays, all that stuff. And then I quickly decided the medic was not for me. I wanted to try engineer because I usually play like in Guild Wars 2 and a couple other games. I like playing those gadgety kind of technology-based engineer type classes and stuff where I use turrets and gadgets and all kinds of stuff. I always liked that kind of play style. So naturally, I went for the engineer. But I realized something with classes that have really narrow range telegraphs, like the width of the telegraphs. The engineer just wasn't for me. And I'll tell you why in just a second after I tell you about the spell slinger. So after the engineer, I moved to the spell slinger. And the spell slinger, I got up to around level 25, 26, something like that. Did a lot of PvP on it. But one thing I did notice is that, and this is just for me, and this is kind of a tip I guess I could give you guys. If you're playing with like a mouse that, like I use the G600, so with the buttons on the side and everything, or you're using a Naga or something like that with thumb buttons, one thing you want to do in this game, if you're playing like a spell slinger or esper or engineer, something that's got really narrow telegraphs, make sure you have proper like wrist support. I know this is like probably common sense to a lot of people, but a lot of people they kind of play on the edge of a desk and they kind of just hang their wrist over and move their mouse like that. That doesn't work so well in this game where it's telegraph based and they're really narrow, because what happens is, like you'll see, for example, I'm hanging my wrist over the edge of my desk like this. Every time I hit a button, you see my screen wobbles just a little bit every time I hit a button. Well, see, so it ends up with a very jerky kind of play style, and that's not good if you're playing a really narrow telegraph class, because you miss. Like probably 60% of the time you may hit your target, the other 40% you'll miss, just because you have to be dead on, especially with the spell slinger. Some of his hardest hitting skills are really narrow on the telegraph side, and so I was finding that I was missing a lot of my shots, and that's just me. You know, maybe not everybody has that little tick in their wrist when they, you know, hit a thumb button on the side, but I do. So I decided maybe that's not the best class for me, because I started thinking ahead. You know, when I get into doing like rated arenas and stuff like that, like that's not going to go well for me. So I needed to find a class that had you know, really wide telegraphs, but was sort of tanky and could put out damage if I needed it to, and had really good crowd control. So I decided on the warrior. The warrior, as you can see, he's got pretty wide telegraphs. He's got some knockdowns, you know, stuns, stuff like that, roots, dots, you know, leaps, which, you know, just it seemed to fit what I was looking for. So I rolled a warrior, and for a little while I was on the Dominion side, and then I decided, you know what, I want to try on the Exile side because I don't know. I mean, the Dominion, it was cool and all that, but I ended up going on what server was it? Pergo with all of my friends and everything. But for some reason, every single time, and they say it's fixed and all this stuff, but for me, it's not. I don't know why, but every single time I try to get onto Pergo, I get stuck in a queue for at least an hour. Now, before the fix, I was stuck in queue for like 8 to 9 hours. It was insane. And I was like, you know, if this was a free-to-play game, wouldn't be such a big deal. But since I'm paying, you know, $15 a month to play it, I don't want to sit in queue. And I don't like the idea of having to sit in queue. Even though they say they fixed it, for me, it's not fixed. And you know, yeah, sure, I could use a macro or something like that to keep myself in the game, but even then, if my power flickers for a second or I lose connection to the internet or something like that, then I'm back in queue again, all over again. So I was like, I don't want to deal with the headache. So I moved to what was it called, Wildstar, and don't have a queue. The ping's better. I'm on the East Coast. It seems like the ping's better for me over here. So yeah, so I'm on Wildstar, and I was playing Dominion. I transferred all my characters, all my gold, all that stuff over here. And then I didn't have anybody to play with. And so a couple of my friends are on the Exile side as well. And then they fixed the cross-server parties because for the first few weeks I wasn't able to make a cross-server party. So I was kind of just by myself over here with nobody to play with kind of thing. So now I'm able to invite friends across server, and I assume we can run BG groups together and stuff like that, and dungeon groups. So that'll help out a little bit. Because, you know, it sucks being by yourself in these games, especially when your friends are on different servers and stuff. But, yeah, the way they originally worded it, they made it sound like you could transfer off and then transfer back on. But I'm just letting you guys know, if you guys are on a hot pop server like Pergo, if you transfer off of Pergo, at the moment you can't go back. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking of transferring over, it's permanent for right now, because you know, the way it was worded, it made it sound like you could hop around, because it said, you know, a character can be transferred every 24 hours kind of thing, and you know, that word made it sound like every 24 hours I could hop to whatever I wanted to hop to, but that's not the case. So anyway, back to a couple of tips. You know, I know a lot of people are level 50 already. I know there was a housing exploit out where you could, you know, like basically put a bunch of items at your house to get rest XP, and then go to transfer to a friend's house to visit it, and then Alt F4 out, and then when you log back in, you'd have more rest XP and more and more and more, and people were stacking it that way. And a lot of people got to 50, like, I think there was a guy that hit level 50 like in 24 hours or so. It was just some ridiculously fast, you know, 1 to 50 kind of thing. And you know, I don't know, maybe he did it legitly, I don't know. I just know that there was a housing exploit out there that's been fixed now. You know, as far as like leveling and stuff, you know, this game's so massive. There's so much cool stuff in this game. You know, I originally was going to level fast, but then, I don't know, I've kind of just found myself kicking back and just running around and looking at all the goofy, cool stuff they have all over the world, and, you know, queuing up for BGs. And on this guy, this level 12 warrior that I have, I've leveled entirely. I got to 6 and then immediately started queuing to BGs. I've leveled him entirely in BGs up to level 12 so far, almost level 13. And so, you know, I'm just kind of giving my overall impressions of, you know, some of the classes I played, some of the tips and stuff. As far as like leveling fast and efficiently, you know, always have health pots on you. You know, that's a given. If you want to do like mining and you know, any kind of node gathering skill or anything like that, make sure, you know, you can come up here, and I see a lot of people doing this all the time, hitting it, just swinging their sword at it, hitting it. They give you these items, like for example, I have a chainsaw for trees, and I have a pickaxe for rocks. Now if I equip the pickaxe, and instead of swinging at it, if I just walk up to it and right click it, hands free, it mines the node for me. It's a lot faster than just swinging your weapon at it. Then when it's all done, you hit V, vacuum it all up. I'm gonna go see if I can find a tree real quick, and I'll show you how the tree. There's one right over there. Swim against the current here. So yeah, so I can come up here, just swing my weapon at it like so, and it'll chop the tree down little by little. But if I equip the chainsaw and I just right click on it, it just cuts it down really quickly. So that's a little tip. A lot of people I do not see using that. A lot of people I see running up and just swinging at it, and they're there for 10-15 seconds swinging at a tree when it takes 2 seconds with a chainsaw. So that's a little tip. You know, always make sure if you're out, you know, mining and stuff like that, you know, make sure to remember to, oh shit, I can't run up the hill. Make sure to remember to equip your stuff there. Can I jump up there? No. Okay. I don't know why that didn't look that steep, but I guess it was. So yeah, always remember equip those. It makes your gathering go a lot faster. So yeah, also if you did get the deluxe edition and all that, and or any kind of collector's edition, and you got the bags, always remember to go to your account thing and get your big bag, your bag of awesomeness, which is your 10 slot bag. You know, a lot of people probably just overlook that. They don't remember to get their bag. They don't remember that they even have one. Bag space is super important, because as you're out questing and leveling, you want to be able to hold a lot of stuff. You don't want to be running back and forth, you know, so that's a given. You know, make sure to have bags. Also, N key. N key is what you use to queue up for your group finder stuff. At a low level up to, let's see, starting from 6 to I think 15, you will only have access to one practice battleground, and that's Walakiki Temple. Now the way that battleground is played, because I don't know if some of the people in there, it feels like the majority of the people in there are in there just to look at the charts and see how much damage they're doing, or they just don't know how to play the battleground. But the way that battleground is played is a mask will spawn, a moody mask, and when you first start off, each faction will have a mask at their base, and there'll be one that pops up either in the center of the map or to the lower right or lower left in the map. Well, the first phase that happens is one mask spawns, and the whole BG, both factions, run to that mask and have a big team fight. But what you could do is when that big team fight happens, you know, one or two of you go over to their side and take their mask. Take that first mask that they have and bring it back to your base while the big team fight's going on there. So yeah, the whole gist of that is you're trying to get to 5 masks first. Whoever gets to 5 masks first wins the BG. Different things that can happen, or when you're carrying a mask, if you get killed, you drop the mask. Well, if people from your faction come and stand at the mask for long enough, a big red circle with a countdown ticker will pop up and tick down. So if you stay alive at that mask until the ticker goes down, then you reclaim that mask and it goes back up onto your board there, onto your rack. So yeah, I mean, that's the objective. That's what you're trying to do in that BG if you guys are kind of clueless as to what you need to be doing. You're trying to capture 5 masks. You know, I know a lot of people at low levels in all MMOs that have battlegrounds, you know, they don't care necessarily about the objectives. They want to see how much damage they can do. They want to see that they can top the charts on damage. But the thing is these people that try to, you know, max out and top damage in BGs, some of them may be helping, but a lot of the times, I mean, you know, I could go in there as a warrior and just run around and cleave in all the big groups and top the charts. Did I kill anybody? Probably not. Did I get, you know, did I help the team at all? Probably not all that much. You know, same thing on Spell Slinger. I could run around and just cast dots the whole time and top the charts, but did I actually help do anything? Probably not. You know what I mean? So you know, topping the charts is not always, you know, all it's cracked out to be. You know, like a lot of people think, oh, I'm amazing, I topped the charts, all this stuff, when in reality, yeah, but you didn't actually do anything. Your team lost and you have like no kills. So yeah, that's how that BG works anyway. I'll be making some videos on it, and I know I live stream it a lot because I'm kind of trying to level this guy entirely in Battlegrounds and stuff. Why do I keep trying to run up that hill? It's too steep. Go ahead and kill this guy right here. But yeah, I'll definitely be making videos on it. Now, here's something I can point out. When you're attacking stuff here, let me go ahead and kill that guy and I'll show you what are my cooldowns on my kick. The way you want to play like all the classes, if you have interrupt kind of skills, especially on the warrior, what I do at low levels, what I found works the best is I come up and I start using my basic attack, which is this right here, Relentless Strikes. And I use that attack, well, I may cast a dot on him first, Ripsaw. But I'll use the basic attack until he starts to use a moment of opportunity kind of skill, which, you know, we'll put a telegraph on the ground. I'll immediately kick him and interrupt him, and what that'll do is it'll turn his bar purple, which will allow me to do more damage to him, which means he's been interrupted. And you'll see it in action right here. I'll just do it real quick. See, I just... Relentless Strike. As soon as the telegraph pops up, I knock him down. His bar's purple, and look how much damage I do to him. I burn him down very quickly. So that's another little tip for some of the new players that maybe don't know how the interrupts work and all that kind of stuff. You always want to save your big interrupt skills for when they're actually casting a telegraph. And you know, for example, on the warrior, it's a knockdown. So you could easily just kind of come up to him and just knock him down right off the bat. But see, look, I don't do all that much more damage to him because his bar's not purple. Now, if I had waited for him to use the telegraph and then kick him and then interrupt him and put his bar to purple, I'd have done a lot more damage. So that's another little tip for you guys that are new to the way the telegraph systems work and all that stuff. Let me go over here and mine this node real quick. But yeah, make sure to come and check out my live stream. I mean, lately, I know I've been jumping around a lot lately. I've kind of tried to find the best place that my stream looks the best at. So far, it's between Hitbox and YouTube. Twitch is not too... They're not too forgiving on my stream quality. I'll put it that way. Yeah, it just... I don't know, it just doesn't look as good because, as you guys know, I can't stream at 720p. So I have to stream at 480p, and Twitch just doesn't make my 480p stream look as good as Hitbox and YouTube does. Hitbox and YouTube make it look really clear. Like, even at 480p, you can read the numbers right here, like on my distance stuff. You can read my level numbers. You can read some of the chats and stuff over here. Not chats, some of the text and stuff over here. A little bit of the chat if I'm standing still. But yeah, so you know, I know it's not 720p, and yeah, I'd still enjoy it if you guys came and hung out with me and stuff, because it does get pretty boring when I'm streaming and nobody's there watching me. I have nobody to talk to. I tend to not stream the entire, 4 to 6 hours when no one's in there. So yeah, you guys have an open invitation. Just follow me on Twitter. I always tweet out where I'm going to be streaming at, whether it be YouTube or Hitbox. I'm kind of trying to be fair to the people on Hitbox and be fair to the people that watch me on YouTube. So I try to stream a little bit to both. Maybe a few hours a day to Hitbox, a few hours a day to YouTube kind of thing. Because I know a lot of people, they're comfortable with the site that they're using, and they don't want to hop around. Like, they don't want to come from Twitch to Hitbox, or Hitbox to YouTube, or YouTube to Hitbox, or vice versa, that kind of stuff. So I try to be fair to them, and I try to cater to them a little bit. I stream here and I stream there, so people can get, a little bit of my live stream on both places. But as always, I know this video's got a lot of just rambling and stuff in it. It's because I don't know, I've had a lot on my mind lately as far as like getting my live stream stuff together, and I just haven't really been focused on making the videos and stuff like that. But I wanted to put out a video explaining, why it is that I'm playing Wildstar, but I don't have any videos out yet on it. It's because I'm still trying to figure out what class is the class for me that fits my needs and wants and play style and all that kind of stuff. I think the Warrior does fit it. The Stalker, I tried it, but I don't know. It's good. It's got wide telegraphs, kind of just like the Warrior. But I don't know, something about the Warrior I like. Oh, another thing, as far as the Warrior goes, that I have seen a couple of people ask a question about in BGs and stuff like that, and I figured, I might as well mention it in this video. Your stances as a Warrior, you have Onslaught and you have Juggernaut. Now, when you swap to this stance, yes, you can hit the R key and buff yourself with that, but a lot of people don't realize that you already get a passive from that just by being in that stance. For example, if I swap to Onslaught, you see it puts the little blade above my head. If we read, that increases my damage by 35% and reduces all resistances by 2%. That's the passive for it. So a lot of people don't realize that these stances give passives. A lot of people that are new to the Warrior class, they give passives. So don't be afraid if you're in BGs or you're out killing stuff or whatever. If you need more damage, swap to your Onslaught. There, you got 35% more damage. If you need to defend really quick, it's just a matter of swapping your stance, just that fast. And when you swap to your Juggernaut stance, all resistances are increased by 5%, increases your shield by 420. At my level, it'll scale, obviously, and increases your threat generation by 200%. Threat generation doesn't mean anything in BGs, but yeah, that extra shield and that extra resistance, it makes a big difference in Battlegrounds and stuff. And you don't even have to use it. Like, I recommend using it because when you toggle your Juggernaut, it reduces all damage you take by 50%. So if you're, for example, guarding the masks in Wadaliki, how do you even say that? Walatiki. Okay. If you're in Walatiki and you're guarding the masks, and you have one or two people show up from the other faction, you're the only one in there guarding, because at low levels, let's face it, you'll probably be the only one in there trying to defend your stuff. So yeah, don't be afraid to pop that. Like, what I usually do is if a stalker comes up behind me and just gets me right off the bat, the very first thing I do is pop that Juggernaut. I pop that Juggernaut and I hit knockdown just to interrupt him and get him on the ground and buy me some breathing room time. But yeah, that's that. I mean, if you are using Onslaught, I'll just read it to you. The active, when you cast it, it resets assault and supply ability cooldowns and triggers overdrive for 8 seconds. Overdrive prevents kinetic energy decay. It increases damage dealt by 25%. So look at it this way. All right, when you're in Onslaught stance, your damage is already increased by 35%. And then when you pop it, your damage is increased by an additional 25%. But, I mean, there's a trade-off. Obviously, your incoming healing's reduced and all that kind of stuff. But that's some little tips and stuff for playing the Warrior if you're new to the class. If you're not, and you guys know all this, I apologize if it's a boring video for you guys, but I'm just trying to help the new guys out. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. I've already been going for, oh wow, this video is already 24 minutes long. Anyway, make sure to come check out the live streams. Follow me on Twitter. You'll always be notified when I'm going live. Hitbox.tv/Mirrormask is my Hitbox one, and on YouTube, you just need to go to youtube.com/Mirrormask Gaming, and when I'm live, it'll be right there on my front page. As well as, I think it shows when I'm live, I think it'll pop down in your little subscriber list. Whoever you're subscribed to, it'll show that I'm live. But yeah, make sure to rate, comment, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content and stuff. And I'll see you guys on the stream, and I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys take care, and peace.